Welcome to the Grab a Hole podcast. I'm your host, Justin S. I am back in the pool house alongside my co-host, who is out on his patio. It's early enough that we are out here, and the mosquitoes aren't to you yet, so we're doing all right tonight. It's still a little warm, though. How are you doing out on the patio tonight?
I'm doing great, man. It's great weather tonight. Not too hot. Got the fan going. I actually got some tiki torches with some citronella back behind me. You can't see them, but I got the lays right here. We just had a luau a couple of weeks ago, so I still got the lays out, the tiki torches with the citronella, so the mosquitoes aren't a factor just yet. And then I don't have my big ring light today. My wife is using it, so they're not going to be attracting. That's not going to be attracting mosquitoes later on either as it gets darker.
Oh, there we go. Although, so bear with us on Damien's quality. Normally, he looks pretty pristine on his screen and video, but no ring light today.
No ring light today. No problem. I haven't shaved since school has been out. I haven't shaved or gotten a haircut, so I'm starting to get a little scruffy there, and I'm going to see how long I can make it. I'm thinking maybe a 4th of July haircut.
Oh,
maybe,
all right.
Wait until then. So I still got another couple of weeks. So
I will say that
a little rough.
My beard's back. It took a hiatus for about a week and a half. I went with just the goatee and realized, oh yeah, that's why I don't do that shit anymore. So the beard's back the way it should be, the way it'll stay. So we're all cleaned up and we're all lined up and nice now.
I just want to apologize to all my viewers and admirers that this is not as pretty as it normally is, but it'll be all right.
It'll be there soon enough.
I need to get my dashing Cody Rhodes mirrors or background or something like that. Maybe that'll be the gimmick I go with.
That'll be dope. If you are listening to us on Amazon Music, Audible, or Spotify, thank you. Make sure you hit the heart, the plus, whatever it is. Then make sure that you get those as soon as they drop on those audio platforms. If you are watching us on Spotify or YouTube, make sure that you subscribe, you like, you do all the things that help YouTube channels, including ours, as we continue to grow this audience and continue to push forward. As this is episode 109, as we are working just episode after episode, week after week, trying to continue to just talk wrestling like we do. Just friends having the conversation, taking it from the thread on our phones to the screen that you are watching and listening to. We are sans David this week. We thought we were going to have him with us, but he's been battling, unfortunately, an illness. So unless he feels better and jumps on, it's just you and I tonight. With what we saw on SmackDown and what we saw on Raw, how have you felt? I know when we checked in previously on where we kind of stood with what they were showing weekly, the booking, and how things were going, you were saying that you kind of felt like it was a positive thing and it was an upswing. A couple weeks now removed from that, and post Money in the Bank and the direction that they've gone since then, do you still feel the same way that they're putting on good weekly shows, or you changed your mind a little bit?
Yeah, I think the shows are really good lately. They have so many stars, and John Cena's shown up. You know, Randy Orton, I think, came back, and they've had guys on both shows. The LA Knight kind of going back and forth on both shows, and Seth Rollins and his whatever they're calling themselves. They're kind of going
group.
back and forth. Their group, the Seth Rollins group. So I'm enjoying it. And to be honest, though, it's the women's booking, and the women are, I think, to me, are the star of the show right now. Because the men's booking it feels a little, I don't know, I don't know what the hell they're doing with the men, but they're on TV and they're doing, good things, having fun matches, and I think that there's more of a clear direction with what they want to do with the women.
Do you think that that's because that they have the Women's Evolution 2 coming up this next month? Or do you think that's just kind of where they are right now?
I think they just have so many talented women right now on the roster, and I think they know who their main card is, who their mid card is, and who their low card is with them right now. And sure, and I think that, they're building up to that show. But I just think the call-ups those 4 call-ups that they made from NXT have just been money, and just made that the Raw and SmackDown women's divisions just loaded.
I like it
as well.
Like I do like what they've been doing with the women's division. I feel like there's stories being told at different levels. Although, you feel like Tiffany Stratton's kind of disappeared a little. I mean, we know that Naomi and her had their promo situation this week on SmackDown, but ultimately, hopefully they bring her back around based on what happened, and we'll talk about that here momentarily. But overall, they have a lot going on, and things that are going on. This Naomi Jade thing, right? Like, this has been a thing without the title, right? You've talked about that a lot, that make up stories that we got going on that make me care, that don't involve a championship. Make me care about what's going on, so when they do get to a championship feud, it means even more. And I think they've done a good job with that.
Alexa Charlotte, right? They're kind of going somewhere with that. Um, so and then just also just good matches with the Queen of the Ring tournament as well. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the format of the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments, but I mean, it led to some good matchups, confrontations, and setups. So
Okay. Well, let's get to the highlights of SmackDown. Speaking of the King of the Ring tournament, we had Randy Orton beating LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, and Aleister Black to advance to the semifinal. He hit the big RKO as he caught Carmelo Hayes off his frog splash and hit it to get the win there. Jade Cargill picked up the win over Nia Jax, Michin, and Piper Niven in the Queen of the Ring Fatal 4-Way. We saw Jacob Fatu's promo, which got interrupted by a solo video talking about how this Friday he needs to make amends and say, I love you, Solo. Naomi had a promo with Tiffany Stratton, which Nia got involved with and attacked Tiffany Stratton, telling Naomi that it's going to be her that winds up taking the championship off of Tiffany, not Naomi. We saw the Wyatts over the Motor City Machine Guns. We saw Cena call out Ron Killings and got CM Punk instead. And then Truth attacked Cena at the end of that promo segment as Punk left. As you mentioned, Alexa Bliss picked up the win over Candice LeRae, Charlotte, and Alba Fire in the Queen of the Ring. And in the main event of the evening, Cody Rhodes over Damian Priest, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Andrade for the King of the Ring quarterfinal match. We would also see that what the brackets look like now going into Monday and where they are. Do you think that where we are now with the King of the Ring and the semifinal matches, the final four laid out, and we'll talk about Raw here after the fact, but from SmackDown's point of view, you said they had good Fatal 4-Ways. It's got all this. Do you think that there's a problem with the idea that when they did the Intercontinental Tournament, it was triple threat matches, right? That was the whole deal. The United States Women's and the Intercontinental Women's, it was triple threat matches. Then when they qualified for the Chamber, it was triple threat matches. Now we have King and Queen of the Ring, and those are Fatal 4-Ways. Do you think that that's too much, or that it's good because it gives different people different looks with other wrestlers than they've normally been working with, rather than one-on-ones that we might repeat over and over again by running into it in the tournament?
So if you were to ask me what I prefer, I would prefer a 16-man or a 16-woman tournament, right? Even go 32. I don't get like go 32 and just do it over the course of 5 weeks. I think that would be awesome. But if they're gonna try to squeeze in a tournament in a matter of 3 weeks, I mean, I ended up not hating those Fatal 4-Way matches. Like I wasn't a huge fan of the Fatal 4-Way. I would prefer one-on-one matches, but you know, they're using it, I think, as a way to tell a story to make sure certain guys don't get pinned, whatever, So I was okay with the result of those matches. I mean, with the quality of those matches, not the results, maybe not so much. But I was happy with the quality of those matches, having those 4-on-4s, the Fatal 4-Ways. So, I mean, it worked out fine. I would have preferred something else, but I think that it worked out fine. Yeah, as far
Am
as
I
the
alone in
quality.
wishing that they would bring back the one-night format of the King or Queen of the Ring
You're
tournament?
not, man. My favorite. I mean, the Bret Hart win to
Right?
me. Even like the Stone Cold became a star because of his promo, but then even the Owen Hart win. I mean, those are the big three that I remember, where it
Right.
was 3
Triple
matches,
H
3
wins,
wins.
right? The Mick Foley and Triple H in the finals of his King of the Ring.
Yeah, like it just felt like have a King of the Ring. Now they can do it, right? I think if they can have a King Queen of the Ring tournament on one night, and I don't know why they can't do it with the network, where if they just like they could just do them individually and just have like a King of the Ring of the tournament. And I don't know, like I don't know how they could do it, just air them separately. Like I don't know why that's like why they wouldn't be able to do that, or but um I just it felt like a big deal, like those, like winning 3 matches in one night, and especially when you see like Bret Hart was beating Razor Ramon, Mr. Perfect, and then who did he beat? I
In the
forget.
finals, I don't remember.
I don't remember. Anyway, but 3 matches, and I remember him talking about it, where he was just like, God, think about a day like where if because I still believe that the King of the Ring tournament should be used to elevate somebody, not to necessarily have four former world champions in the
Yeah,
semifinals.
yeah.
Like a Carmelo Hayes, right? If he were to go out and roll up a Randy Orton, and then he turns around and beats LA Knight Queen, and then in the championship goes out and I don't know, almost comes out and becomes his heater, and he beats Cody Rhodes in the champion, and now he's the King of the Ring. And it doesn't necessarily mean he's getting a title shot. And that's the other thing I don't like. I don't like the
It
automatic
leads
title
to a
shot.
title shot. Yeah.
But now you're the king of the ring, right? And you told a story, and you just made Carmelo Hayes, who could have gone in one night from 3 different matches, 3 different ways to win, into somebody who's like now a force to be reckoned with, because now he's the king of the ring, And this is just my fantasy booking. Now he's got Almost as his heater, not the Miz, and he just looks like a freaking world beater coming out of the tournament.
Right.
That's
No,
something that I would love to see.
I agree. I think that you could do it if you did the qualifiers like they've done in the past, where the qualifiers happen on weekly television, and then you have your semifinal matches and your final in the same night. If you're doing a card like it's supposed to be, right? You have plenty of time. You have 2 semifinal matches, so that's 4 men and women if you're doing it in the same night. 6 to get to your finals, right? So that covers that. Now you throw in one of your world championships, whoever you want to defend the title in the main event, and there's your show. You get 7 matches. Your early matches, your semifinal could be surprise on how quick it's, like you said, it could be a roll-up, it could be something. And then the surprise happened, the big surprise is in the main event. Or it could be somebody who dominated that you're continuing to build up that's already in this process, right? So, a la Braun Breaker, a la, Bronson Reed, somebody like that who is, you go, oh, this guy's going to steamroll everybody. And they do.
Yeah, imagine a Bronson Reed in the tournament, right? And he just has 3 matches where he's just dominant. And now Seth Rollins comes out, he crowns him, and he's all, because we know the king of the ring isn't necessarily mean you're the king of the WWE, but but now he looks like a super like duper megastar behind Seth Rollins.
And that was the idea, right? Is that like you didn't have time to prepare. You had to go to the next match and go to the next match. You didn't get a week to see who you were facing and go, oh, okay, I can get this guy's number. I can watch film on this guy or whatever. Like the idea was that you had to do it all on the same night because it was a war of attrition and an on-the-fly type thing where you weren't prepared. I missed that. Go ahead.
No, I did too. Now, is it just me, or did it feel like maybe they weren't going to do a King and Queen of the Ring tournament this year and they rushed it? Like, or is it just the way that the schedule works out? They had planned to announce it after Saturday night's main event, and they were like, all right, now we got 3 weeks to get this in.
I think they kind of went like, oh, well, we're not going to Saudi in the fall like we normally do. So now we got to switch and move it. And there was already shit jam-packed in there. So they were like, we'll just do this too. This will give us something to cover some weekly. We don't got to get too creative with what's going on outside of the main stories. And we can keep people involved. So I think that's kind of the way that it went. Like I said, we saw Orton over LA Knight, Carmelo, and Alistair. Did you have a problem with Orton being the guy that went over out of those 4?
I didn't have a problem with it per se. Like, I would have preferred somebody else. But seeing as the story that they're telling is these 4, super over baby faces are going to be in the semifinals, and they're going to have friends in the, friends facing off against each other, friends in the finals.
Right.
I see what they're doing. I mean, I guess Sammy's not a former world champion. I messed that up, but the other 3 guys are. But again, I would have preferred a guy like Carmelo Hayes to be the one, moving. I think that, it's perfectly set up for a guy like him. Even LA Knight, who needs, I know they got him doing stuff with Seth Rollins, so, and his crews, but even him,
I mean, I think Carmelo's, you're right on the money with Carmelo. He's earned his spot. He's been putting in the reps. He's working hard. I mean, even Aleister Black, you could argue it's a good way to open up him coming back with something that means something.
Like, imagine Aleister Black using some sort of like a dark king, like a gimmick, with like some sort of a dark crown,
Right.
That would be a good look for him too. Like,
I mean, I think Jade over Nia, Meechin, and Piper Niven was the right call. You talk about an up and comer, somebody that can get elevated is Jade. I like that.
I feel like the Jade thing going back. That's a story. I think she's going to win the tournament, and that's a story going. That's
for him and Naomi.
For her and Naomi to kind of culminate with that SummerSlam.
Could be interesting. What did you think of Naomi's promo with Tiffany, and then how they intertwined Nia back into it?
Yeah, I like what Jade's doing right now, or what Naomi's doing right now. I think looking back, I think she was the right decision to win that briefcase. I think that, she's really good with what she's doing. I think her acting's really good. I'm really surprised at how good her acting skills are, and I like her look, the caution tape. I like all of that, and I really feel like it's probably her time, right? Like I feel like with Tiffany, like I don't know, she's found her. She knows what she wants to do. Like she acts like a heel, but she's a face just because of the way she looks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know if her character fully is ready, and I feel like she kind of wasn't. Again, I feel like Naomi definitely overshadowed her in that promo, like where she just looked like a bigger deal in that moment. I don't know how to explain it as far as
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Tiffany just didn't look like she was like, well, challenge me for the title now, and she's like, come on,
She
really?
didn't
Like
she didn't
the
step
one
up.
that was that sneakily won it last year is like, challenge me now, like.
Right.
I just didn't like her response to what Naomi had to say.
That's fair. What did you think of Cena coming out? So we're using another appearance for Cena on SmackDown. He calls out Ron, but gets Punk. We're still on the thought process as of right now that Punk's going to Saudi Arabia as of this moment. It doesn't seem like they have a way out of it.
He's going. Punk already locked himself in with what he said in his promo to Cena.
You think so?
Yeah, he said, "I'll follow you to hell." He
Oh,
said, "I'll follow you to hell to prove that I'm better than you." That's
okay.
his. That's his out. Like,
That's his hell.
I don't want to go, but this is why I'm going to prove that I'm better than you.
Okay.
I think he's going for sure.
Do you like that they've kind of set this up for Night of Champions with Cody still shading in the background and how now Ron's intertwined in all of this?
No, I think I would have preferred a Cena Punk SummerSlam build.
Do you think that
To
they
be
should have
honest with you.
ran Ron and Cena at Night of Champions rather than this Friday?
I think they had the opportunity to pivot and say, you know what, Ron's hot right now.
Yeah.
He's coming after Cena. Let's give him a title shot. Because I don't know if any of us expects him to win. The only way I would expect him to win would be like where he beats Cena, and then he's cashed in on automat, like right away. Like I don't, but yeah, I think right now we would believe that Ron had a chance against Cena at Night of Champions, right? So I think they should have pivoted and given him the match then, and not this Friday, and then pushed the Punk story back to SummerSlam,
SummerSlam. Yeah.
and then do something else with the King of the Ring, because it just feels like whoever wins the King of the Ring is going to go. It's going to be. I feel like it's going to be Cody going after Cena at
Right.
SummerSlam.
We got Alexa, as we said. Excuse me. We got Alexa going over Candice, Charlotte, and Alba Fire. Her and Charlotte going back and forth. They had their little moment. She hits Sister Abigail, the figure eight's on. Did you have a problem with them going with Bliss? Or did you have a problem with just the four where it was kind of obvious it had to be Charlotte or it had to be Alexa?
No, I like that, and I like the finish, and I like that it's Alexa and not Charlotte, and I know that that pisses Charlotte off, and now, I don't see Alexa winning this tournament, but I see them setting up a Charlotte Alexa like evolution match from it. So I'm really okay. I'm really okay with it. I'm really good with that.
Okay. We saw Cody pick up his win. So now we got Orton versus Sammy in the semis Friday. And assumingly next Monday, we'll get Cody and Jay. How do you feel about the semis? I mean, we talked about, the four faces situation, but do you feel like, this was an opportunity to get Cross in the mystery man spot like everybody's been talking about? Do you feel like it was okay for Jay to be that spot? And how do you feel like him and Cody going head to head is going to matter?
I mean, I don't like it. I don't like these two matchups. Maybe it's a way for them to say, let's get a Cody versus Jay matchup. That makes sense. It's a tournament. We can have a matchup for them, because I don't know if we'll ever get that, because there's, right now they're so close. They're considered such close buddies. So I do like that when they do the King of the Ring, it leaves some matchups that you didn't expect you were going to get. Like, oh, it's an excuse to get a certain matchup that you normally wouldn't get. I mean, if you're asking me, I think Cody's going to win to set up a matchup with Cena. But, part of me is like, well, because they got to have Cody on the Night of Champions card, right? As big as over as Jey Uso is,
right?
Like, I feel like Cody's the one that's got to be at Night of Champions. If he loses this match, then what is he doing?
I feel like Cena screws Cody out of this, and we get Sammy and Jay in the finals because Orton's already had his moment with Cena.
Yeah.
So I don't see him making his way back. So my prediction is that Friday, Sammy gets over on Orton somehow, and we get Sammy and Jay in the finals.
Yeah, so is this a way of getting Jay back in the championship picture because they do he deserves to be there. They just took the title off of him just so they could set up the Goldberg match, or is this a way to get Sammy to tell a Sami Zayn ascension story? I've seen the fantasy booking online. Everybody wants this to be the Daniel Bryan yet
Yeah,
WrestleMania 30 like reboot.
right.
I absolutely hope that's not what they do. Like that's been too soon. That story just happened 11 years ago. Like and so what the story is like everybody's fantasy booking that he wins the world heavyweight championship for the first time against Gunther. Seth Rollins immediately cashes in,
Yeah, I've seen that.
and then it's Sammy having to build himself back up to get his moment at WrestleMania, which is what happened to Daniel Bryan when Randy Orton cashed on him
At SummerSlam
and
that year.
at
Yep.
SummerSlam, and he had to go and work his way back into the WrestleMania picture, and then it ended up being that he beat Triple H to earn his triple threat match. All that, like, I would hate for them to run that back. I would totally hate that.
Okay.
I would hate that. But so I don't know if that's the direction they're going to go with Sammy, and then he gets cashed in on, or if it's Jay, and then now he's a 2-time champion. He gets cashed in on by Seth. To be honest with you, I would just hate any cash in at SummerSlam. It's become too repetitive. Like it just feels like, oh, let's put the champion on somebody new, and then we'll immediately take the title off of them and put it on the guy that we want. Like have Seth go into. I want Seth going into SummerSlam as the champion,
Okay.
not cashing in at SummerSlam.
At there,
That's the
yeah.
direction they're gonna. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
I just hate that you're gonna have maybe set up a match between Sammy and Gunther, and the whole story that we're being told is Sammy versus Gunther, and then cash it.
Right.
I mean, you know how I feel. I said this several times. Like I hate the Money in the Bank contract. I think from what I hear, Triple H is not a big fan of that gimmick either. But I think they make too much money selling briefcases, having it that it's
to get rid of
basically
it.
like the number 5 pay-per-view of the year.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't see that they get rid of it. And it's a very easy vehicle to get somebody a championship without having to tell too much of a story. So, but I feel like sometimes it's just like, oh my God, like I hate that they have it. Like Seth doesn't need it. He can get a title shot whenever he wants just by saying, I want a title shot.
Right.
You know?
Okay. Well, let's get to Raw. Asuka shows back up for the first time in over a year. She beat Ivy Nile, Raquel Rodriguez, and Stephanie Vaquer, your girl. Vaquer. Did you think that they should have let it be a mystery until the entrance for Asuka's return?
Yeah, the same way that Jey Uso was
Announced ahead. Yeah.
They should have had 3 and then let us think it's Asuka. I mean, I think we all probably would have sat there and been like, all right, who's returning? But give us a little bit, of suspense, and then it's her. I think they really botched that. I think they could have made it a surprise. But then I think maybe if they surprise us, then as soon as she comes in, we're like, oh yeah, she's gonna win.
She's the winner. Yeah, that's true.
She's the winner. So who knows?
Okay. Well, that would set up now the semifinals would be Alexa Bliss and Asuka on that side of the Queen of the Ring. We would see Gunther's promo, which, as aforementioned, Goldberg is back, and he's getting a title shot at Saturday night's main event on July 12th, the day before Evolution 2. AJ Styles takes on JD McDonough, picks up a win. I thought that was a really good match. AJ leaves with the IC title and gives it back to Nick Aldis and winds up setting up himself and Dom for Night of Champions for an IC title match.
Yeah, remember when you guys made fun of me about saying JD McDonough was the most improved wrestler? Like, the guy can work. He's good.
It's a different time. It's a different time. And he almost died. All right, so it's different. We would see Bayley and Becky's promo that ends with Becky eating a forearm from Bayley, and they will be having a title match next week on Raw. And then we would have Liv and Kairi Sane that went all of about 5 minutes, if that, because Liv Morgan dislocates her shoulder. So literally they cut to commercial, it goes away, and she gets help to the back. Then
I just saw today that she probably tore her labrum and she might be out for about 6 months.
Really?
I don't know if those, I don't know if these are real reports, but that's what I saw today. It's hard to distinguish.
Let me see what I can find.
I just saw today that it's possibly a torn labrum. She's in knee surgery and she's going to be out for about 6 months. Is what I saw on Twitter.
Let's see.
And they will
USA
forever
Today
be
has
known.
an update from 25 minutes ago. Let's see what she says. USA Today is quoted from the. Okay, yeah, we got that part. What happened in the match? They said on camera, they said dislocated shoulder, but it depends, and it determines, or it's dependent on the severity of it and if they need surgery. Without surgery, you're looking at over a few weeks. If surgery is needed, it could take up to 5 to 6 months off of that. So that's just off the dislocated shoulder. That's not even the torn labrum. That's just the shoulder joint itself.
Yeah. I don't know how long it would be for a torn labor, but
That's
I mean,
even
surgery
longer, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe for like a baseball player.
That's true.
You
Yeah,
know?
because you're throwing. Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
true. The main event, we saw Jey Uso pick up the win over Rusev, Sheamus, and Big Bronson Reed. There was interference, of course, and eventually Seth Rollins wanted to get involved. What did you think of Raw? I mean, minus the injury, of course. With Asuka's return, Goldberg showing up, Jay obviously picking up the win, Becky and Bayley's promo because it was Bayley's return to Netflix on with Raw. So a lot of going on of people coming back into the mix. What did you think of the show?
There were a lot of parts that I liked, and then there were some parts, obviously, like the Goldberg stuff that I hated. I didn't like it at all.
Okay.
I don't know, like, you know what? It had to be a good show because it was over, and I was like, oh, it's already over. Like, I didn't realize, so I must have been into it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I you know, and it's funny because I started watching it about half an hour at about 5:30, half an hour after it started, and so like I wasn't getting any of the commercials. Like, it would just skip over the commercials. So I'm still trying to figure out what Netflix is doing with the commercials. Sometimes like I see commercials and sometimes I don't, depending on when I started or what. But this was like half an hour in, so it was just continuous for me, and I was like, "Oh, it's over." So it had to be good, right? I'm like, "Oh shit, like it's over."
Yeah.
Like I was confused that the men's fatal 4-way was the main event. I was like, "Oh, I still thought there was another match coming or something."
Right.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, it
had
was
to be
kind of
good.
cut short too with the injury, so
Yeah, it's a little
a little bit of
Still.
time cut out there. With the Goldberg bit. So let's talk about this. We know that you've been very vocal in the past about Goldberg. His walk to the ring, it was a very noticeable limp for him just to get to the ring. We are roughly, today's the 18th, so roughly a month, 3 weeks, give or take, away from Saturday night's main event for his match with Gunther in Atlanta. One, did you think it's necessary and that they actually did this on purpose, is have Jay lose to set this match up? And B, do you think that this is a waste of time just to have him have a one-off like this?
I don't want to say it's a waste of time. I'm okay with him having a retirement match. I'm okay with him having a match against Gunther. I think if Goldberg was healthy and anybody was gonna like carry him to like a good 10-minute match, it would be Gunther, right?
Okay.
Mat technician, a lot of holds. They might be able to go 10 minutes because Gunther's gonna, put some holds on him, just put him on the ground, not let him really move around too much, and he can make it look good. So I think it's the right call. And it's in Atlanta, so I don't have a problem with the match itself. If Gunther wasn't in the plans for the World Heavyweight Championship and they took it off of Jey Uso to put on him to give this more prestige, then that was the wrong call. You don't need that, right? Like, honestly, you could have had Goldberg interfere in the match last week, help Jey, and that sets up a Gunther match with Jey because. And he did reference that Gunther attacked or had an altercation with him and his son.
Yeah, when they were ringside. Yep.
So I mean, they had a tied-in storyline there. I would have preferred something like that, and it's just like some sort of a grudge match, like where Gunther says, like, "I'll wrestle you, but if I beat you, you have to go away. This is it." Like that would have been a better wrestling story to tell, don't you think? Like rather than.
Here's my question.
And then he messed up his fucking line because instead of saying "you're mine," instead of saying "you're next," he says "you're mine."
Yeah.
Because you're next.
Yeah. Does anybody, not just you, but does anybody honestly believe that Goldberg's going to beat him for the title?
I've been thinking about this, and maybe he does.
That's the swerve. It's the Brock Lesnar swerve where he beat him in like 30 seconds.
And then here comes Seth Rollins.
Oh.
That's what I've been thinking.
That's an interesting twist. Yeah, other than the Sammy story. Yeah.
He gets his championship win. We get him posing with the title.
Right.
Gunther rolls out of the ring. It's over.
Right.
right? Where like it looks like they're about to. The only problem is on Saturday night's main event, so they're limited on time. But it
Right.
looks like the show's over. Here comes Seth Rollins.
Cash in.
Braun Breaker spears him. Maybe a tsunami, a stomp. I don't know if he would. I don't know if he's in a position to eat a tsunami. Maybe he just a spear in the spot in the stomp.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing.
And
You brought up Gunther, right? And said, oh, he could carry him. Here's the problem. Gunther is a legitimate technician, which means that Bill's got to sell. And Bill don't sell well. I mean, he's okay, but he doesn't work, 15 to 25-minute matches selling. You know what I mean?
Work that injured knee. Work that injured knee.
Yeah.
And now he's legitimately here.
Tell me how bad those chops are going to have to be to get Bill to sell one of those chops. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you're right. But I don't know if it was a real tweet. I saw somebody's like, sure, I got 3 minutes to spare. Gunther tweeted, yeah, sure, I got 3 minutes to spare.
touche.
I don't know if that's, again, I hate it. I see things online. I'm like, is this real or is this parody? Like, I don't know. Like, it pisses me off. And I don't do enough research. I don't go like, let me check it to see if it's real. I just keep going.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of these things. I agree with you. I don't think it's necessary to put the world title on Gunther just to have this match. It doesn't add to this match. Nobody believes Bill. It is a vehicle. It's a nice thought of you bringing up the cash in on Bill. And I get it. Like, there's nothing people are going to do about it. You don't got to worry about a rematch from Bill. You don't got to worry about any about that. He gets his win on the way out, and he walks away looking like a star as the champion, and it took 2, maybe 3 guys to get rid of him, and you move on. Seth, now you're champion. You get to where you want to get to, and now then you have that moment of like, all right, Sammy can go after Seth at SummerSlam. And then you have that type of moment there. It's 2 nights. There's that. I get it. But, look, I don't hate Bill Goldberg like Bret Hart, although I'm wearing the chalk line Bret Hart shorts tonight. I don't think that he needs to be in the ring at this point. I know he was mad about not getting a match on the way out and that Vince screwed him out of that match. I get all that. That's all well and good. But at this point, you're in a situation where you're not working with a Brock where people believe you for 30 seconds and you can get by doing some other shit. Like, these are guys now that are on go all the time. There's no slow guys unless you're going to work with Cena. So, and these guys at this point, and here's the other point that I want to bring up. These guys aren't working 200 dates a year anymore. So these guys aren't in practice and in shape like they would be otherwise to be able to carry Bill without Bill having this. We've seen online that he's been hurt. He's had injuries along this training process to get back. So that's not going to help. I mean, hopefully he's healed up and healthy to get through it. I'm sure he'll still be banged up by the time they get to July 12th in Atlanta. But to me, you had enough being in Atlanta. Gunther was the issue. You had the previous history. He could have fucked him with Jay, like you said, and Jay picks up the win and moves on, and that would have been fine. But I just don't see the point in him beating Bill again. I don't see, or beating Bill or beating Jay again, rather. And it doesn't add anything. He's not, as much as we harp, and I'll say this, as much as we harp on guys like, Logan Paul, right? That expand your character. He's a great athlete, but expand your character. I'm about ready for Gunther to figure out how to expand his fucking character. Because I'm just better than you, and I'm going to put you to sleep. He doesn't have a group behind him anymore where you get mad at him. He doesn't have this, classic heavy hitter match because he's not working with guys like Drew and Sheamus every night. He's not dominating guys with chops like he could be to establish dominance. Somewhere in between, and his character does not have me invested at this point. When I saw that he was, putting Jay to sleep, I, went, oh, all right. Like, they really are taking the title off of Jay. And not that Jay's championship reign has been anything of spectacular, but to take it off of him this quickly in such an anticlimactic kind of way, just to lead to Bill getting a title shot, I'm sorry. I just don't see it. Maybe it's the armchair booker in me, but I just don't see it.
I don't see either. I mean, they could have even have done something where they announced Goldberg and Gunther interrupts him because he's pissed off that he lost to Jay the week before, and they could have that match. Or, I mean, I truly, honestly, Goldberg's not walking out of Saturday night's main event with the World Heavyweight Championship. He's not going to retire, and then Cena's going to retire with the title too,
right?
Unless this isn't his retirement match, unless they're building to something at SummerSlam, and they want Goldberg to highlight one of the nights.
I hope not.
I hope not. I
Nope.
hope not. I hope not. But we'll see. Hopefully, this is it. Gunther wins. I mean, no harm, no foul. He beats him. It's over with. Maybe Seth cashes in on Gunther. I don't know. Like, maybe, I don't know. I don't see them making it a triple threat. You know what I mean? Like, that would kind of like just defeat the purpose of Goldberg, of it being like a Goldberg moment.
Right.
So,
Okay.
we'll see how they book it. But it's not going to take long. It's not, and they could have 6 matches on this Saturday night's main event because that one's going to go 5.
Right. One of the things I wanted to ask you is how big of a blow to the women's division is losing Liv Morgan for 4 to 6 months, if this is how bad this injury is?
I mean, she was doing she was doing great work. I mean, I wish she wouldn't go away, though. I don't know
Well, I mean,
what.
obviously, this story with Roxanne Perez isn't over, and she can use Raquel to do the work for her where she doesn't got to touch, and get physical.
So she's coming back as a huge baby face, right? Like, this is just what happens in wrestling. She's gonna be gone for 6 months. As hot as she is right now, they're ready to cheer for her right now, anyways. But she's doing such a good job of healing it up that they boo her.
Is it fair to say that don't get me wrong, the Rhea Ripley pop is still off the charts. She's a star. There's nobody that's touching.
Yeah, when she showed up on SmackDown, nobody expected that. I was like, holy shit, that was
it was wild. That being said, work rate and work-wise, I think right now in the women's division, Liv's been the MVP.
Yeah, dude, she's working hard. Like the bumps that she's taking, like the cuts, the scrapes, everything that she's putting her body through. I mean, she deserves everything that she's
telling good
getting,
stories. She's involved in the Judgment Day thing. She's also doing her own thing. She's a tag team champion. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of positive, and there's part of me that saw some stuff online, and I was kind of like, everybody kind of needs to get off of her nuts. But then, as like the weeks have gone on, I've kind of been like, you know what? Maybe they were right. Maybe I was wrong. That like she actually is doing a lot.
She's doing a lot, and you believe her as a world. She's at the point in her career where she could be world champion whenever against whoever, and you think she has a chance. Like, even as an underdog against a Rhea or Bianca, like you're like, okay, like she can win. She can pull this off. Somehow.
Okay, so with that in mind, and how big of a blow this is, if you have the pencil, what does your card for Evolution 2 look like now?
Oh God, because you were booking her and Brie Bella, right? Or Nikki Bella.
Yep. And she's the one half of the tag champs.
Do you give that match to Raquel? Or do you bring back Brie and now you make a tag team championship match and you say, all right, we're technically like the way that they did before, right? We're technically Raquel, you're the champ. Team her up with Roxanne Perez against the Bellas.
Yeah, I like that.
And the winners walk out as tag team champs.
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing about the tag.
Would Brie come back?
She said she would like to. That they would like to have a run. Yeah, they said that they would like to have a run together at the titles because when they were there, they didn't have women's tag team champs.
I would bring them back and I would let them win it. Yeah. And then let them have a run as tag team champs.
A little mini run.
Why not? And just SummerSlam. They could lose it at SummerSlam if maybe, sometimes these injuries are not 6 months, they're like 2 months. And maybe that's when Liv returns or something like that.
Right.
Or whoever, they build up another contender to knock them off.
So that covers the tag match. Yeah. Bellas. Okay. What else does your card look like?
Evolution. So you got the Bellas and
versus Raquel and Roxy.
So now you're looking at Bayley versus. They're not doing Bayley and Becky Lynch at Night of Champions, are they?
No, they're doing it this upcoming Monday.
Oh, did they announce the match? Bayley versus Becky.
Yep. Nick Aldis made it official.
Okay, so I'm thinking Bayley, Becky,
continued,
Libre, triple threat.
Okay, yeah, because they had the interaction backstage. Yep.
So now you got your Intercontinental Champion match, U.S. Championship. You figure Zelina Vega versus
Chelsea Green rematch.
And I think so. I don't see anybody else that's kind of vying for that right now for that spot. For
Julia.
Julia.
Yeah, Julia.
Okay. Yeah, Julia, Zelina Vega.
Shout out to Kaylin over at Essential Sports. He hit her gym card this afternoon out of the Flawless case.
Oh man,
And
Julia.
that market is going
And
to
I
go
don't
through
know if
the
it's
roof.
because of her look, the way she looks, but I don't know, man. Like I'm just like her and Stephanie McCare for me right now are just like it for me. Like they look great, first of all, but they just carry themselves like they don't even speak great
Stars.
English, and you like
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and you still want to see them.
But what do
Like
the
they just
kids
have
say?
this
They got
aura.
that aura.
You got that aura about them, yeah, for sure. Both of them. So you got Julia and Zelina Vega. So now we're thinking the World Heavyweight Championships or the
So
World
EO.
Championships. Io versus gosh, who's she working with right now over on Raw?
Well, originally she had the interaction with Liv. They
I think
they kind of had that like in the background. They also had the tease with Rhea before because again Rhea's never beat her. Um, let's see who else could she work with potentially.
I guess Roxanne Perez is I already
It's
booked her
busy.
into another
Yeah.
match.
Who else
Gosh,
would be over
Io.
there?
I mean,
Would you bring like a returning Hall of Famer or somebody back to work with you?
I mean, a heel Hall of Fame. No, because Io's a face, and usually
Yeah,
they want
it's
to
a
bring
face
back.
on the return. Yeah.
Yeah, a face. I mean, I guess they could do. I don't know. Io right now, maybe you just give her a match with Stephanie McCare. They maybe have like a impromptu, like number one contender match or something like that, and they just put on a good match. 'Cause I don't think she has like an actual rival right now. Because I don't know unless they're ready to move on from Io and put it on Rhea. Like I don't see that.
Yeah, not yet. Anyway,
Not yet.
could you see Asuka?
Not if she. I think because I think she might. Well,
Do you have her
yeah.
winning the whole thing? I thought you had
No,
Jade winning the whole thing.
I do have Jade. So I don't know who's on Raw right now that would be a good heel matchup
Well, you figure
Io.
based off of the King or Queen of the Ring matches, as far as Raw goes, you have, like you said, Stephanie Vacour, Ivy Nile. We already mentioned Raquel. And then we have Asuka, who just returned. Excuse me. Kyrie Sane, right? She was there
Yeah.
in the Liv Morgan injury situation. So, I mean, there's some names there, but you kind of also have Bailey and Becky and Lyra and working with the mid card situation, so they're not up at the top where they would normally be.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know who Io's going. Let me go over to Raw or to SmackDown, and so you have. I think they're going to give us Tiffany and Nia. Don't you think?
Again,
Why else would they get Nia back involved and say I'm going to take the title off of her?
I could
Because
see
now
it. I
you
mean, they
have
put on, yeah, I mean, the SmackDown match they put on was a hell of a match,
a
so
hell of
I
a
could see them
match,
running it back.
and now you have the threat of a cash in,
Right.
and I think Jade's going to win or the Queen of the Ring, so that they set that up for SummerSlam. So yeah, so I think that's an easy world title match over on SmackDown. And Charlotte and Alexa, I think, are going to do something with each other on at Evolution. So yeah, I mean, going over back to Raw, what is Stephanie Becaire doing? Who is she? She doesn't really have anybody she's feuding with right now.
No, not currently.
Maybe I don't think the idea was to do
Well,
Live
you got to remember,
and
we could
Io.
also use NXT people.
I mean, they already called everybody.
Well, no. Just the idea you're using all the women. So even if it's just one-off matches,
So you have whoever the NXT champion. They'll have
JC
an
Jane
NXT
right now.
championship match. I imagine they'll have an NXT championship match on Evolution. Jordan Grace is. What is she doing? Is she the number one contender down there, or because they haven't called her up yet?
No, currently it seems like JC Jane's going to be feuding with the former Mariah May, who is now Blake Monroe.
Do you think it's odd that they went with the Monroe last name when what's her name over in AEW is basically doing a Marilyn Monroe?
Tony Storm?
Tony Storm is doing like a Marilyn Monroe gimmick or act.
No, I don't know. I feel like when people come in, there's a time and a place to change somebody's name, especially if you're changing their gimmick. But if everything that you're keeping is the same, a la Ricky Saints, Ricky Starks is how everybody knows the guy going back to the Indies. That's not an AEW creation.
Yeah.
That's a Ricky Starks creation. Same thing with Mariah May. She got the notoriety in AEW, but Mariah May has the alliteration. It's a name that people associate her with. So Blake Monroe, not that it's a terrible name, and I get the association to Marilyn Monroe and the glamour and the idea, but I think that there's got to be some sort of give and take when you take somebody's name and switch it, and then you go, okay, this is going to be different now. Like a guy like Aleister Black, his name is Tommy End on the Indies, like END, End. So when he got to WWE, he's Aleister Black now. And then when he went to AEW, it was Malachi Black. So it's a variation. So you understand when he came back why he went back to Aleister Black.
Aleister Black, yeah.
But these people that weren't there beforehand, or this is how they made their name, and the place that they were at prior to that is where they got their name from. Like, I don't see them changing Joe Hendry's name.
No.
You know what I mean?
But I don't.
Jordan Grace's name didn't get changed.
Yeah, I think
I
feel like a Mariah May or Ricky Starks. I knew of them. I don't think that they were big enough stars where it warranted that they had to keep their name.
But if you searched,
I don't know.
like if you Googled Ricky Starks or Mariah May, you're going to get a whole lot more hits than Ricky Saints and Blake Monroe.
Right. That's the argument. I remember when Samoa Joe came over for the first time in NXT, they were like, they wanted to change his name. He's like, well, do you want to sell shirts now or do you want to sell shirts later?
Right.
Like, we want to sell shirts now.
Then, yeah.
So he kept his name, but he's a big enough star.
Right. No, agreed.
But yeah, so I think she'll be on the match. I think that'll be the NXT Championship match will be there. I don't know if there's any other matches I'm missing. I mean, do they bring TNA's champion over and have like a TNA World Championship match on the card?
That would be interesting.
Give them, like I don't know who the champion is over there and who the number.
I don't either, but it would be interesting.
TNA. Do they bring a AAA match?
Women involved?
Do they have a women's? Yeah, like a women's.
I don't think so.
Match? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
We already had 6-7 matches. I mean, we already.
Yeah.
If you have the 2 world title matches, a tag team title match, the 2 mid card titles,
and then like some sort of
NXT title, and then a Charlotte,
Alexa
Bliss match. You're like at 8 matches, 7-8 matches already. So
yeah,
I think that's good. That's good. I still don't know. I think it's got to be like a one-off with Stephanie McCare, and she beats McCare in like this really,
crazy match,
awesome contested match. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, was there anything from this week's recap that we missed that you wanted to touch on?
Bayley. I wanted to touch on that last week when she came back in the all white outfit
with the purple hair, the all white, yeah,
with the Sasha Banks purple hair.
They're friends. They're friends.
Yeah, I know.
Pam and Mercedes are friends.
And just Nia Jax. I don't know if you saw they went to one of the referees got married.
Yeah.
And her TikToks, and she was like recording Bayley, and Bayley caught her recording her. BBL Bayley is a real thing. I don't know. I mean, Nia Jax is all over it. So I just shout out to Bayley.
Fair enough.
Other than that, I mean, I think we touched on everything. It looks like Karrion Kross is finally going to get a match against AJ Styles after the King of the Ring, or after the after Night of Champions.
You mean Sammy?
Who did I say?
You said AJ.
Yeah, Sammy.
Yeah, seems like
after he's done with the King of the Ring.
Yeah, seems like it.
Does this pause? Does this Liv Morgan injury? Does this pause the Judgment Day breakup? Does it slow it down? I mean, because goddamn, I feel like it's been going on forever.
I mean, it would make sense to use that if you want people to cheer. Then Finn being a heel, Roxanne being a heel, and them getting rid of Liv while she's hurt to turn her face is a good way to do it.
Does Dom go with Roxanne? Are they ready to turn Dom, right? Or they want to keep him heel? Like, does Dom say, well, she's gone, right? Because that's my booking is Liv is gone, so now it's Dom and Roxanne, and then that's when Liv comes back to fight, as a woman scorned or whatever,
So copy and paste the Rhea situation?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, it works.
It works for him. It works for him.
It works for him.
It works for him. I don't know. I mean, you could. You definitely could. One thing I wanted to note before we get the fuck out of here, Vince McMahon was noted as trying to buy Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship as recently as in the last few months. They turned him down because obviously he wanted control, so they passed on the whole deal. But what do you think about him trying to get into the mix of other things like combat sports now?
I think good for him, I guess, because if he doesn't, he's probably going to die. A lot of people probably feel like he probably deserves it. I just go back to the Joe Paterno thing. Like, he retired, and then and it didn't take very long before he was dead.
Right.
So unless he tries to keep himself busy, he's probably going to die. I mean, good for him for trying to extend his life. But I mean, at this point, I think he's just lost touch with the reality. Just enjoy retirement, man. Go
Be done.
Be done. Go away.
Count your money like Scrooge McDuck. Be done.
Just be, yeah, man. Like, but I wonder. Nobody in his family probably talks to him.
That's the rumor. Well, I mean, the one person he's been seen in public with is Shane, of all people.
Yeah. Were they like at a Miami Heat game or something? Like
they were at a game. They were at the Super Bowl together. They were at some basketball game together. Like, there's been a few things. Oh, you brought up Sasha Banks. She is rumored and seemingly confirmed that she is now dating Beast Muertos from AEW.
Oh, is that real? Because then I saw that he's in a match. Because he's in a match now with the Young Bucks and Moxley and
that's real. Else. He posted a picture of them like somewhere, and it like the way it translated out was something about the person that I cherish type thing, and then she seemingly confirmed it by talking about it's a Beauty and the Beast type situation. Ha ha.
What's his name? What's his name?
An AEW Beast Muertos.
He's a luchador. He's like nice.
I mean, he wears a big old fucking like water buffalo head. Like, like he's not really a luchador with that big old fucking like mask and head on.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's supposed to be like wildly vicious, like with the mask on, but you can see his eyes and the black eye paint around him.
Yeah.
So you have to check.
No, they were. Something else to touch on. I sent you guys videos, pictures. My brother-in-law was in Mexico City this last weekend, and he was at a CMLL show, and he was like, "Hey, AEW is coming here next week." I was like, "Yeah, they're having their Forbidden Door or whatever they're calling it."
Yeah, their
Worlds Collide pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's on Dynamite right now. They're in Mexico right now as we speak.
Are they? And it's going to be Mystico versus
MJF. Is that who it is?
MJF against MJF, the old formerly known as Sin Cara. So
formerly known fuck up.
You know what? Yeah, man, that was a bad run, but
he was horrible. I mean, I don't know what he looked like in Mexico before that, but in WWE as Sin Cara, he was terrible.
He was terrible.
Horrible.
So anyways, so I told him you were a week early, but he got a couple of masks. I'll probably be making a surprise appearance next week with a mask. So
there you go, getting a mask. You and El Grande know each other?
He goes, yeah, he got it from him. He goes, if I buy you a mask, will you wear it on your podcast? I was like, hell yeah. So I don't know what he got me, but next week you might not recognize me. El Grande might be here. You never know.
Oh shit! All right. Could be fun. We could have.
What makes me just go. Lucha Libre is making a huge comeback here in the States right now. Like,
right.
It was a huge deal in WCW. I mean, they did an amazing job with those cards where they would start the shows off with the Lucha Libre match or just a match between two luchadors. WWE buying AAA to Los Garzas for being the new AAA champs, tag team champs. And again, I think I said, I don't know, it's a novelty. I don't know if it'll wear off, but for now, it's like exciting. And it's exciting seeing guys like Mr. Iguana, who are probably going to make their debuts here on the
main roster. Rumor is he has a lot of heat for opening his mouth on a podcast saying that they want him on the main roster already because
he already messed that up.
Yeah, allegedly there's a lot of heat on him for talking before anything went official.
Well, never mind then. We'll see Pentagon Jr. over here. Or Octagon. Jr. before,
yeah. We're just going to start doing shapes. Pentagon, octagon, hexagon, whichever agon you want to have wrestle on.
So I was learning that like Pentagon, so Penta is generally he's a heel. He's a heel character in Mexico.
Yeah. You know, like we talked about this, like the history of the mask and the curse from Japan and all. Yeah.
So Octagon is a face character and Penta is the heel character, the heel rival to him. So that was one of the tidbits I got from Conan.
There you go.
The Worlds Collide show. So,
perfect.
Maybe we'll see Penta turn here soon and Octagon shows up.
Be interesting to see him as a heel. Well, we look forward to seeing you don the Lucha Libre mask next week and see who shows up. Is it Damien? Is it El Grande? Is it somebody we don't know yet?
Is it Mystico? Is it Sin Cara?
Is it Sin Cara? It could be anybody. It could be Viano 6. We don't know.
You don't know. It could be Mr. Iguana. No, he does his face paint.
It could be La Parka. We don't know.
Oh,
you could come back as La Parka. You got to wear the red leather jacket, though, and play Michael Jackson.
Did we ever establish as La Parka? Was he a AAA?
He is. He is a AAA guy, yeah.
Why was he not? Is the guy just not ready? Why was he not on the AAA card? I think everybody knows La Parka and the famous, like...
Well, I think some of the stuff has to be, checked through legal.
Yeah.
He's using Michael Jackson's Thriller music. He's... La Parka. I don't know if he owns the name or if AAA owned the name La Parka. I mean, those are because at one point you got to remember there was a La Parka and then there was an LA Park in MLW. So like, who owns the trademark? You know, all that good stuff.
Maybe La Park is a Mexico act.
Maybe. Well, we look forward to seeing it next week. Hopefully David feels better and we can get him back here so that way we can talk about what happens this Friday and next Monday as we do our weekly recaps, as we try to every Wednesday, sometimes Tuesday, but usually Wednesdays. I edit these as soon as we're done. So as soon as we're done here and we stop recording, I start editing them and I try to get them up the same night as quickly as possible. As we said, if you're listening to us on Audible, Amazon Music, or Spotify, make sure you hit the plus, hit the share, hit the like, hit the bell, so that way you can tell somebody as soon as they drop, hey, you need to listen to this. This is coming out right here, right now. Also, if you're watching us on Spotify or you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, that you like, leave a comment. We'll talk in the comments. If there's something you want to touch on, if there's something you think we should be talking about, we'll shout you out on the podcast. We'll bring it up and we will talk about it and see what we can come up with whatever that comment or topic is that we can debate about and give our points of view on. As we said, this is just what you would see in a text thread or a conversation with friends standing around talking wrestling at an event in line waiting to get in. That's what we're doing here. And we're trying to do that every week right here on the Grab a Hole podcast. So as for me, I'll be back next week ready to go Tuesday and or Wednesday. Damien, what do you have to tell the people on the way out?
Live, get better soon.
Live, there you go. Live, get better soon. We'll see you next week on another episode of the Grab a Hole podcast.